So, the origin of South Asian English. We had been discussing about the origin of British East India Company in India. And we have also learned that in 1600 years, the British East India Company got approval from Queen Elizabeth I, and they established their first trading post in Surat at in 1912, and next time they extended it to three other areas of India, that is Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta. And after that, the French European power, they also came in this area for making business. And there was a clash between the British colonial power and also the French people. However, for the cause of the decline of Mughal emperor, French left, and the British East India Company or the British colonial power became the sole colonial power in India. And that company's influence grew, and in 1765 it took over the revenue management of Bengal. And after that, in 1784, India Act established a board of control responsible to the British Parliament. And in 1858, nearly 100 years later, after the Indian Mutiny, the company was abolished and its power handed over to the crown. We know the history of 1757. So at the Battle of Plassey, the British people got the power of ruling. The last Samrat of this area, Shah Jahan, was defeated in this area, and the British took control of ruling this area. And in the company was ruling this country. However, there was a gap of information between the British Parliament and the East India Company. Actually, East India Company was ruling this area, but it was not the commitment that was done between Queen Elizabeth and British India Company. British Parliament would know that the East India Company is doing business over here, but British East India Company actually got control of the ruling of role of this area. And for the continuous anger of the people living in this area, and that was the result that is called the mutiny that happened in 1857 actually. And after the mutiny, the British Parliament got all information, and now the British government said that no British East India Company will not be ruling Indian subcontinent anymore. So Indian subcontinent came under the direct role of British Parliament. At that time, there was also a representative of Indian government in British Parliament after 1858. Before that, British East India Company was ruling in this area. This is the historical past. And revenue management, what it is the application of disciplined analytics that predict consumer behavior at the micro market level and optimize product availability and price to maximize revenue growth. So British East India Company also got the revenue management power. And also in 1784, the India Act. It is also known as also the Pitt's India Act, and was an act of the Parliament of the Great Britain intended to address the shortcomings of the regulation of 1773, sorry, by bringing the East India Company's role in India under the control of British government. So this is the history. And the Regulation Act of 1773 was an act of the Parliament of the Great Britain intended to overhaul the management of the East India Company's role in India. And it marked the first step towards a parliamentary control over the company and centralized administration in India. So many of us, we know that East India Company rolled in this area, but for the cause of the mutiny, also for the cause of East India Company's excessive pressure and torture to Indian people, British government took control the power of this area, the South Asian region, especially the Indian government, and India become like a province of British government in 1858. And as we had been talking, that the East India Company first established their trading port in Gujarat and in Surat. And Surat is a West Indian state of Gujarat. We know Gujarat, and Ahmedabad is the capital of this Indian state. So this is the place where East India Company came first and established their trading port. Surat is a large city beside the Taipi River in the West Indian state of Gujarat. Once known for silk weaving, Surat remains a commercial center for textile, and the new textile market area is lined with fabric shop. So, overlooking the river, Surat Castle was built in the 1500 year, 1500 year to defend the city against the Portuguese colonists, and nearby the Dutch, American, Armenian, and English cemeteries contain elaborate colonial era tomb. So the Surat was famous at that time, especially for the silk weaving, and that kind of business attracted British people, and the East India Company came over here and established their first trading post in Surat. That is an Indian state of Gujarat. After that, they went to Mumbai, Madras, and Madras, its another name is Chennai here, Calcutta. Okay, so uh, this is Chennai, and Chennai is the capital of Tamil Nadu, another Indian state, and it is at the site of the Bay of Bengal. As you look over here, and this is Chennai. The city is home of Fort St. George, built in 1644, and now a museum showcasing the city's roots as a British military garrison and the East India Company's trading outpost when it was called Madras. Religious sites includes Kapaleshwar temple, adorned with carved and printed gods, and Saint Mary's, a 17th century Anglican church. So after Surat, British Trading Company went to this Chennai, that is Madras. That was the old name of Chennai. They went over there, and after Chennai, they moved here, that is Mumbai. Mumbai, its previous name was Bombay, as you know. It is a densely populated city of India's west coast, a financial center. It's Indian largest city. And on the Mumbai harbor waterfront stands the iconic Gateway of India stone arch built by the British Raj in 1924. Offshore, nearby Elephanta Islands holds ancient cave temples dedicated to the Hindu god Shiva. The city is also famous as the heart of the Bollywood film industry. So from Madras, British East India Company went to Mumbai and then Calcutta, the Indian West Bengal states. And Calcutta, formerly known as the capital of India's West Bengal state, founded as an East India Company trading post. It was India's capital under the British Raj from 1773 to 1911. And today it's known for its grand colonial architecture, art galleries, and cultural festivals. It's also home to Mother House, headquarters, and the missionaries of the charity founded by Mother Teresa, and whose tomb is on site. So after um, Mumbai, British Trading Company went to Calcutta. So these are the four areas East India Company established their trading post. First one Surat, then Madras, then Mumbai, and then Calcutta. During the period of British sovereignty from 1765 until independence in 1974, English gradually became the medium of administration, education throughout the subcontinent. So British ruled Indian subcontinent nearly 200 years. And during this time, English was only language of making communication between British administration and the people living in this area, in education also, and also in administration. The language question attracted special attention during the early 19th century when colonial administrators debated the kind of education policy which should be introduced. So at the initial stage of 19th century, the British government had been talking about the educational policy in this area, in this South Asia region. And at that time, the language issue came forward. What would be the language policy? What would be the education policy of this area? So the linguistics issue came in this area at the beginning of the 19th century. A recognized turning point was Lord William Bentinck. Most probably many of you have heard his name. Accepted a minute written by Thomas Macaulay in 1935, which proposed the introduction of an English educational system in India. So in the case of educational policy, so Macaulay's policy, Thomas Macaulay, he proposed that the educational system will be English linguistics, English medium education system will be established in this area. That was a proposal. And after that, when the University of Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras were established in 1857, English became the primary education of instruction, thereby guaranteeing its status and the steady growth during the next century. So after the proposal done by the Macaulay, English became the medium of instruction and education in this area, and the University of Bombay established at that time. University of Calcutta also established in this at that time. And these are the English speaking area as you see on maps. Okay, India, every part, Bay of Bengal, okay, you see Dhaka, Bangladesh, okay, Bhutan, Sikkim is in Nepal, Islamabad, okay, Afghanistan. These are the areas where in the South Asia region where English is used as a medium of communication or as in education. In India, the bitter conflict between the supporters of English, Hindi, and regional languages led in the 1960s to a three-language formula. So after getting independence from the British colonial rule, that was happened in 1947, there was a issue that most probably we have heard earlier, that in India there are several states, and in in every states they use different kind of languages. These are not especially the Hindi language that is used in India. So some other regional language is there. And also we have learned there is a historical part. That means the British people had been ruling in this area nearly more than 200 years. And for this reason, a linguistic legacy to English language. So what would be the language, official language or state language or the national language of India? That issue came forward in 1960 decades, and they established a formula that is called three language formula. What it is? English was introduced as the cheap alternative to the local states language, typically Hindi in the north and the regional language in the south. Actually, Hindi language is used in the southern province or southern part of India. Hindi is used, but in the northern part, sorry, and in the southern part of India, these states they use not Hindi. They have their different regional language. So what it be the way of using of making communication to the center? One way that they can communicate either in Hindi, either in regional language, but the people who can't understand Hindi, they can communicate to the center in English language. That is the third language formula. One language is Hindi. Maximum people of India use Hindi as their first language. After that, English for the colonial legacy. English is used in many parts of this world, and also the regional language. So to make a linguistic unity over this area, so one language was common that the people living in all area know, that is English. So if anybody who don't know Hindi language, they can communicate is English. So the people living in the northern part of India, if they want to make communication with the southern part of India, if the person does not know the regional language, he will be communicating, or he or she will be communicating in English language. That is the three language formula that is established in India in 1960 decades. It has now the status of an associate official language with Hindi, the official language. So Hindi is the official language in India, but if anybody cannot understand Hindi, he or she can communicate in center in English language. In this way, English is the associate official language in India. It is also recognized as the official language of 4 states: Manipur, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Tripura, and 8 union territories. So in this scenario, English language is used as the official language in this area. If you see the scenario over here, so there are 13 major languages used in India. Our concern to look the scenario of English language. Hindi, 43.63% people use Hindi in India. And in that way, the first language, according to the number of English language user, Hindi is the first in category. And with the other category, total number of people use Hindi in India, that is 57.09%. After Hindi, we see English language. And English language only used by 10.67%. But this number is the second highest category in India. Nearly 11% people of India use English as their language of communication. But notice here, very informative information, only 0.02% people use English in India as the first language. And other second language, this one, and third language, this one. And out of the all first language, second language, and third language, the total percentage will be 10.67% people use English as their language, either as a first language or second language or foreign language. Bengali comes the third position, though this is not included in our discussion. However, Bengali, 8.85% of Indian people use Bengali as their language, though nearly 8.03% they use English, Bangla or Bengali as their first language. This is the status of English language. Other than these three languages, we see Marathi, Telugu, Tamil, Gujarati, Urdu, Kannada, Odia, Malayalam, Punjabi, Sanskrit. These are the 13 major languages used in India. So after getting the information, we can say that English has, as a consequence, retained its standing within Indian society, continuing to be used within the legal system, that means in court in India, government administration, secondary and higher education, and armed forces, the media, business, and tourism. So after getting such kind of historical information, at present, if we see the status of English language, we will find that in education, in government administration, in media, in armed forces, business and tourism, English language is used. And it is a strong unifying force. Unifying force, that means this language, though this language is used in all aspects of language, all aspects of communication, either like business communication or tourist communication, English language has become a way of unifying the linguistically diversified India. The culturally diversified India has been, and linguistically diversified India has been united with one language, that is English. In the Dravidian speaking area, Dravidian speaking area of the south, it is widely preferred to Hindi as a lingua franca. And in the north, its fortunes vary from state to state in relation to Hindi, depending on the policies of those power. In Pakistan, it is an associate official language. Associate official language, already we have know the definition of associate official language. It has no official status to the other countries of the South Asia. That means India and Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan. In this country, English hasn't got the official status. But throughout the region, it is universally used as a medium of international communication. So in this scenario, we can say that in Bangladesh, the status of English language is not the second language, is not the associate language, associate official language, or it is not the official language. However, the status of English language is Bangladesh is international language, or we can call it foreign language. That means a language of that can be used only in international communication. And increasingly, it is being perceived by the young South Asian as a language of cultural modernity. So, if we conclude that The Indian people, Indian subcontinent, they were under British rule for nearly 200 years, more than 200 years. But in this colonial legacy, Indian subcontinent, especially the South Asian countries, got acquaintance with English language. And we have to go back to the 16th century when the Indian people, the British people came in this area to do business. And they got approval from Queen Elizabeth I for making business in this area. And they established their first colony, or not colony, trading center in Surat, India. Then they moved to Madras, Chennai. Then they moved to Mumbai. Then they moved to Calcutta. By these four trading posts, the British East India Company were making business. But in 1757, the East India Company occupied the power of India. But there was a communication gap between the British government and Indian East India, British East India Company. And for this reason, there was a mutiny, that revolution in armed forces happened, and that was happened in 1857. And for the cause of this revolution, the British government investigate the situation of British East India Company over here, and the ruling power was uh, handed over to the British Parliament and the British Crown. And after that, up to the towards the independence of India, the power was in the hand of British Crown. In this regard, English language got acquaintance in this area, and especially in India, in a linguistically diversified country, English language got in the policy of three language policy. A people can either communicate in Hindi or in English or in regional language. So in India, English language has become the associate official language. Same pattern we see in Pakistan. Apart from this, in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, English language has become the language of international communication. So thank you very much, and thank you all for attending the class. If you have any question, we will